You want to say?
Hey, thanks for joining us. We're about to do our second YouTube iteration.
Commentary.
Same thing.
This video, we are building a rocket fish, known to us kind of as a Gillespie model. What was maybe the conception?
Well, the conception was just an idea with this gentleman, Paul Gillespie, who wanted a performance fish. So we made it a quad and put a very performance-oriented bottom on it, single to double with a bit extra tail rocker. The first, and Paul surfs really well, so he made the board look really good. But we've had such good luck with that design for 4 or 5 years now, that it's kind of one of our models. We call it a Gillespie.
And this one we took to the boardroom show. We just recently got back from the boardroom show. That was a fun experience.
Shout out to David Scales and Scott Bass.
Scott Bass,
stuttered
U.S. Blanks. They were honoring McTavish.
And Bob was a great host to the thing. I already talked to everybody. I did not get a chance to personally connect with them. It was always too big of a line. But that's okay. I've known Bob for a long time, and we'll connect again in the future.
Yeah, so like we did last time, we're going to play the video. You guys will see what we're talking about, and hope you enjoy. So this is one of our first versions that we're happy with.
Yes.
Off of a file.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This is a computer shape, which are happy to say we put a lot of effort into getting these things just right. A lot of iterations, a lot of saving, the computer shapes sometimes to get them exactly where we want them.
Yeah, and I think that what we realized obviously was sizing them differently. There's little tweaks that still need to take place to get it perfectly right.
Yeah.
And I feel it's important to get a lot of your best designs and most well-known and popular designs
in there,
digitized,
so we can not only come into the 21st century, but make it a little easier on everybody when we know what we're talking about and these things are proven.
Yeah. So this one was just kind of a stock board. Like I said, we brought this to the boardroom show. I like working on stock boards because it gives me a chance to just try something different. We build pretty much all custom boards, and so in order to do something different, we kind of rely on the customer asking for something different. So when we do get a stock board, I enjoy trying just different things. There's so much different techniques and aesthetics that I see out there, so it's nice to be able to experiment a little.
And the customers have no problem coming up with different stuff and different ideas. They inspire most of what we're doing.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought a little brown accent on the rail would be good here, but
it was good.
Yeah.
It is good.
It's easy to overdo with color. It's easy to do too much, and I've been realizing more and more the more that I actually play with colors and look at a board from a distance, what looks good, and it really seems that less
is more
in a sense, and it just the simpler and cleaner maybe. I don't know, that's just my thought though. Everyone's got different tastes.
Yeah, whatever you're doing to the boards they're turning out great.
Thank you.
You've got a good eye for it. And I like the color combinations you've been coming up with are just all different. Like most laminators, they're doing not the same thing over and over again, because we're doing the same thing over and over again with technique, but the designs are always different, which is nice.
Yeah, and again, that's part of the fun, not only in building custom boards for creative people who have these ideas and they want you to bring it to life, but also on the stock boards, I get to kind of have my fun in trying a technique or kind of a color layup that I'm curious about and that maybe I've seen or maybe I've thought of, and I just want to give it a go.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a few more stock boards here pretty soon, since we left a bunch in California for at the board at Bird Surf Shed. Actually, if you want to go see some of our stuff, you can go down there and check it out.
That's right. This board specifically we left with Bird. He was generous enough to give us some floor space at the shed, which is a
Really
pretty
cool.
rad,
Oh, it's so cool.
really cool facility. We don't have much like that here in the islands, and so it was nice to go to San Diego and see the large community and appreciation for the craft throughout the decades.
Yeah, yeah. No, all the booths at the show were inspiring. I wished I'd have got to meet more people, but we were so busy in our own booth, it was kind of kooky.
Yeah, that was something I think we thought we'd have a little more chance to walk around and
Yeah.
meet people and talk with people, but everyone was fielding questions and including us in our own booth. So it was harder than we thought it would be to get around and meet people that we wanted to. So if we missed you,
We'll catch you next time.
that's right. So yeah, I did the color first. Since I was just doing one side at a time, I didn't want to put the pressure on myself to try to wrap it all up at the same time. Did the color first, wrap that rail, then let or then focus on the clear. That's easy enough. Got the desired effect that I was looking for. And it's funny, someone commented on, we must have a large budget for tape. From all the tape that I use to tape off these boards. And so I've been actually using the like painter's paper
Yeah.
to kind of like protect the opposite sides of boards. The only problem with that I notice is that if I'm not careful, you can actually, with the resin,
It goes right through the paper.
it can go through the paper. So now I got to back it up with a little bit of tape where I'm going to lift the board up to tuck the edge.
I don't want to wax nostalgia, but back in the day, nobody used paper to cover their boards. Everyone just used tape. But that being said, tape has gotten freaking expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ridiculously expensive, and out here we're kind of slaves to whatever they have down at the local Fiberglass Hawaii.
Yeah, and I do find that tape is just, not only is it more effective at blocking out the resin, but it's also it's quicker
Yeah.
to apply.
Yeah.
When I'm doing the paper, I got to use razor blade, multiple size tapes. That's just the way I've been doing it.
No, that's the way you have to do it. It's just like when, mostly we use the paper for airbrushing, and it works great for that, but it's always kind of a challenge to get it on right, and you end up using a bunch of tape anyway.
Yeah, that was kind of what I found. It takes more time, and you end up using a fair amount of resources regardless. So lots of times when I'm just trying to not only document a build, but also move forward with production in the factory, I'll just go straight for that 1.5-inch tape,
Yeah.
and it's reliable.
Yeah, and the 1.5 inch we've found is the most versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah. Someone asked, because I put up the pure glassing video of this board, what we do about the butt crack of the fish. And I was imagining they meant like, do we put a piece of glass
patch in
over it?
there?
Yeah, a patch over it. But as you can see,
It's covered.
it's pretty well covered, and it's an area of the board that will get very little exposure to any Stress, exactly. So as long as it gets covered up with some cloth, and then cover it up with, the hot coat, and
The baste and the hot
yeah,
coat,
and it's
yeah.
not exposed. There's no structural inferiority by treating it that way.
See how good that tape works?
Exactly. That's the other thing with the paper. You got to like tear it up to get to the tape edge, and it's just, either way is fine. I'm sure people have perfected using the paper.
And I'm sure there's probably other techniques that we're not quite aware of.
Yeah. That's something that was cool about going to the boardroom show is, in a way we're in our own little silo here, and you only really learn and absorb what you see and what you've been taught here.
Yeah.
So seeing that there's other ways to do things, other ways to skin the cat, as we say.
Yeah.
It's cool, yeah.
No, most of the techniques that we're using here is stuff that I learned at the old Russell Brotherhood, as far as watching guys who really knew what they were doing. But it was just one technique. Everyone there was kind of locked into doing their own thing, which is not bad, because we built beautiful boards. And that's all I knew how to do.
Yeah.
Was what we were doing there.
Right. And so that's kind of what I get at is I'm kind of just following the steps that you've taught me, and then I've been trying to incorporate more and more of my own techniques too that I've gleaned from.
And I love the fact that you watch what other people are doing. You're not just going on what I've done. Like me and my shaping experience, I learned so much from O'Day and Bruce Jones. But I've also, through the years, kept my eyes open at other shapers and just learned little bits here and there how to polish up my own technique. You never stop learning. There's always something new going on out there, which is cool.
Yeah, I've found it incredibly helpful to try to incorporate other techniques, because every once in a while you'll see something or someone will show you something that just seems to fit the application slightly different, that can be better.
Yeah.
A lot of people wonder why we don't put glass over these leash cups. We've kind of addressed that already in a video, but
Yeah.
in that mix we've got a fair amount of milled fibers, and rarely do leash cups really fail.
Yeah, we've had good luck.
Not impossible for them to fail, but rarely do they fail.
I think a lot of the failures are not so much bad installation, but I think over sanding. So the glass around the cup is weakened,
Yeah.
and then they just pop right out. And they usually pull a fair amount of glass with them. But like I said, we've had very few problems with leash cups.
Mm-hmm. This is routing for future fin boxes after the lamination. This helps, well, it doesn't really help. It's just it's nice after you're doing a color lamination to put the fin boxes in after. You get a real clean finish.
Yeah. When you do color lamination, you're trying to put a patch over the box, and it ends up looking messy.
Yeah. As we were saying about this design, this is a quad fin setup. Anything special about the way you place the fins on this particular?
It's just basically what we've learned through the years that works.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. The placement of the fins, I worked with some guys when quads were making their, I don't know, second or third iteration as far as, board design. And we decided that having the back fins a little closer to the stringer seemed to make them just ride a little less tracky. I don't want to make a comparison, but it makes them ride a little more like a thruster.
Right.
And then, some of the angles are all figured out, and it's just like stuff we've been doing for so long. And we know it works. That's the, I don't like making too heavy of changes if we don't understand how it's all going to come together in the end.
Especially for a customer,
Yeah.
someone who's going to have an anticipation that we know what we're doing and that the board's going to react the way they imagine it.
Yeah.
Board's got a good look to it.
Yeah, it does. Outline turned out good.
But so yeah, this is one of 4 boards that we left at
Bird surf shed.
with Bird at his surf shed in
Point Loma.
Point Loma, yeah. And if you're in the San Diego area, we'd recommend you go down to Bird Surf Shed anyways if you're into surfboards. He's got just so much cool stuff down there.
But check ours out.
Not to mention Bird is just such a
Wow, what a golden guy.
Yeah, such a nice guy, but then he's got so much knowledge
Yeah.
of surfboards and the history of surfboards.
Yes, especially in the San Diego area. He knows them all.
Well, thank you for watching with us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Maybe we'll do a video about our experience at the boardroom show a little more in depth.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because there was some logistical challenges that we faced, and that kind of caught us
I
off
literally
guard.
just recovered 2 days ago.
Yeah, and it was a lot of work, but it was very rewarding, and it was fun to feel like, again, like I was saying, you can end up feeling like you're in a little silo here, especially on Maui. It was fun to feel like we were part of a bigger board building community.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah, no, good reception, good everything. I'd say we're going to do it again. And now we know a lot more about how to do it and do it more efficiently, and maybe have a little more time to walk around.
Exactly. And you've got a killer Bob McTavish story that we'll get into when we discuss the boardroom show, because that's a fun bit of history.
Yeah. No, McTavish and I go way back to 68 or 69 on the North Shore of Oahu. Anyway, we'll get to that story.
Thank you very much.
Aloha.